Well, hi, and thanks for joining me in my shop this morning. So I didn't post a video yesterday, but I was in here for a long haul yesterday, trying all kinds of crazy things with this particular radio. This is the brown cabinet one, or the orange line on my mysterious chart, and trying to verify the alignment in this radio in various ways. I'm going to show you the results of that. But what I really wanted to do was replicate the original test before I did any more, because that original test shows such an alignment problem that I had trouble believing it. So I attempted to replicate that chart, and I got a completely different result, doing it a slightly different way. And then later on, down the road, I repeated the test the same way I originally did it, and I did not get that wild error. So what exactly has gone on in here, I don't know. Too many hours of work and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to quickly double check the alignment in this radio, prove that it's in good shape, then move on to another radio and start over again and see if by some chance maybe I corrected the alignment in here while I was in the middle of all the wild stuff I was doing yesterday. I had 2 sweep generators going in here simultaneously. I had everything under the sun happening. I kind of turned myself into a mad scientist yesterday, and I did get one interesting thing out of that, all of that, aside from the fact that this radio appears to be aligned right. I learned something at one point. I saw something on my SDR I never ever thought about before, and that is, can you have a harmonic copy of the signals that are coming out of the IF? So the IF is running at 455, in that pocket anyway, at 455. If you double it to 900, can you actually pick it up with the same radio? And the answer, I think, is, in some cases, maybe yes. Now, I won't get into this in great detail. I didn't pursue it at all, but I could see on the SDR the IF running strongly the way I was. Maybe we can replicate this stuff in a moment. Running with a very strong signal in the IF, and you can see it again at 900, and you can see it again at whatever would be 900 plus 455, or maybe double 900, but you could see it across the band. The radio itself has the potential to receive a harmonic version of what's inside the IF. That's what I concluded. Never thought of that before. Never even crossed my mind that might be possible. So, is it really a problem or a concern? I don't know. It's just I just put it on my list of all kinds of stuff. Now let's turn this radio on. Get them warming up. While it's warming up, there we go. So here's what I've got going. You can see this little yellow loop here shoved in against the antenna. This is the SDR. This is what the SDR is paying attention to. Oops. I was in here so long yesterday I had to bring out a cooling fan to cool off some of my equipment here. So I'm going to need that hopefully for quite a while today. Maybe I'll need it for me. Cool me off. So this is the French station. This is with the help of the outdoor antenna, which is the leads coming right here, and it's hooked up to this 3-turn loop, and it's just laid up against the antenna. So that's quite a bit of outdoor antenna power. Sound quality is fantastic now. Nice highs. So I was doing realignment things, but nothing to do with the IF at all on this radio. I just fiddled around with the oscillator in the front end. So now we're quickly going to go through and verify the alignment of this radio, and we're going to do it in a way that I just don't think it can be false. I really don't know what happened with that first chart. I did 5 radios and they all came out the same. So okay, give me a few minutes here to get everything set up and we'll get going. Okay, I think we're ready to get started here. So I have the radio operating. I have a number of signal generators operating, scope going, SDR, ABC voltmeter. All that stuff's going. So I'm just going to go over it quickly, make sure everybody follows what I'm doing, especially me. Start with a sweep generator. So the sweep is sweeping across the entire band, the entire AM band, from just below to just above. That's what's making the radio make the buzz sound. If I slow it down, once per second, or 10 times, or where it's running now. Okay. Now the SDR, what you're seeing on the screen, good. It's being picked up by this coil, which is just shoved in by the antenna here. And what's on the SDR? What happened to what was on the SDR? It just disappeared. How does that happen? Here we are. So if you look at the SDR display, you see this on the waterfall down here. You can see something. And you can see a peak showing up here. It's jumping around a little bit. That's because of the SDR's own attempt at automatic volume control and signal level control, things like that. It just ends up flopping around like this. Doesn't mean anything. Just this peak right here. I'll click on it and we'll actually see what it is. Okay, so the radio the SDR just shuffled itself to the right here. So here we are. Click right on it. I think that's the middle. 545. Okay, and you see the local oscillator here is at 1 million. So the radio is attempting to tune 545. There's no station there, of course. It should be 540 or 550, but that's okay. And you can see the peak is in the right spot. So at this end of the radio, everything is lining up beautifully. Or is it? Is the SDR a liar? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing another signal generator down into that area and attempt to prove where that peak is frequency-wise based on this guy here. So he should be on the SDR already around 650. Let's see, I'll move this. Okay, so you see the thing that's moving in between 600 and 700, that's this signal generator here. I'm going to bring it into the peak. You can hear it in the radio, you can hear that that's happened. Now if we look at the ABC voltmeter here, just watch it very carefully. And you figure out exactly where the peak is, right there. Now we look up, we read this, 547. This is what 545 would look like. Very, very close to where the peak actually measures up. Expect these things to be absolutely perfect in a little radio like this. Certainly not at this point. So at this end, we are golden. Now we'll go check the other end, up around 14. Notice I'm not paying any attention to the dial here. I am not. I've given up on the pointer on this radio for a couple of reasons. There's just no reason to even look at it. When I'm all done, I'll twist that pointer to where it has to go to be most effective. But there's no use looking at the pointer. This is where the SDR has become really, really valuable because you can control the local oscillator with precision by doing this. This is the big advantage here. So I'm going to set this. No, we're just going to go up the other end on this radio. Double check it. So 1400 would be 1855 if I want to check at 1400 hertz. Set the local oscillator at 1855. That's off the screen here, so let me move this. And you've seen the peak move. I'm just going to cut back the signal here a little bit. There. local oscillator is here, but we want it 18. Oh, it's almost there. 1855. So I'm putting the SDR red line where the local oscillator needs to go, and then I'm putting the local oscillator there. There. So now we look at where the peak is. So bouncing around a bit, but I would think it's probably, well, I would say it's about here. 1420, but you can see also the peak is broadening out. So the radio is set to receive at 1400. The peak is just a little ahead in the game, but not bad, not bad. That's good. And now, so this for me is very, we gotta prove it. We gotta prove it with that. So we think the peak should be around 1400. Let's see if we can find it this way. So, okay, watching the meter here. You see 1403. Again, the peak is just a touch high from 1400, but it's good enough for sure. Very good. So I declare this radio beautifully aligned. We're now going to listen to it, and then it's going away and I'm starting over with another one. So I'm going to remove the equipment here. I'll just leave that. It's just going to take a moment. Okay, just do this in no particular order. ABC, and lastly big bad ground on the B minus. Take that out of there. Let's lay it down. I don't like moving operating radios, but let's do it. Okay, man, this is your chance. Don't do that. This is your chance. No help from the outdoor antenna. All by its lonesome first. Inspect stations. Down in this range. We are. If I do give it some help, what does it sound like? I'm just going to give it a little loop of help. Sounds fantastic, but hopefully I didn't get a copyright hit for that. It's funny 830. Needs the help.
25. What do you like? The light plus 25 here.
740.
Northwestern BC.
680.
Federal unprovincial Wet'suwet'en First Nation. They're hoping to resolve a bitter dispute over construction of a natural gas pipeline in the territory.
Good start by Federal Crown Indigenous Minister Carolyn Bennett. The conversations are being described as productive and respectful so far. Although the hereditary chiefs left the meeting without making a statement, all three sides are now preparing for another day of discussions as they try to break an impasse in the dispute over the Coastal GasLink pipeline. As a sign of respect, construction on the pipeline has been halted as talks continue. Meanwhile, many solidarity demonstrations have not halted as protesters say they want to see the Wet'suwet'en chiefs satisfied with the resolution before they stand down. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check in with traffic and weather.
Talk about trying to manipulate our emotions because you can't get your project on track, on time.
To try and review, but
Get all funky.
if you had any brains at all, you'd burn your house down tonight.
Right? Dude, I can use a new house. I can use new stuff like
Yeah,
the insurance.
exactly.
And then, yeah, you're going to think,
I actually, I'm gonna tell you, I got the funniest story about that. Like, there's horror. Like, almost every house burning story is horrible. I have one that's actually hilarious.
okay, I can't wait to
Okay, next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put another one of these exact same radios on my bench, and we're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to do the alignment thing, and then we're going to hear the result and be done with it. Be done with it, I say. Okay, I'll get that other radio out here. So first we'll tune through with no help. Okay, here comes 860. Okay. 820 funny. It's not going to pick up 820 on its own, but it picked up the French station. Not unlike its brother, the brown version of this. I think that's 680.
It's been delayed. It feels like, come on.
I'd rather
From players, which they
It's really hard to claim this radio is not well aligned. I mean, it's working quite well. Now let's put the booster antenna on it. I think this is a shocker. I do believe all these radios are well aligned. Let's,
we had to have this authority at this time and make sure we had, at least if you had the luxury of not asking them to do too much. Unfortunately, you don't. I think what you have to hope for is that you can up specs in these environments. So.
What a good time. Oh, we have lots of time for Chris Preston.
Woman drink the same amount of alcohol under the...
You went on another big year because
820 the funny.
mushrooms and that is the close.
Parlons de l'aspect de la sécurité, qui est celui auquel on pense le moins.
Oui, et ça, j'en parle pas beaucoup. En fait, j'en parle pas du tout dans ce roman-là, qui est pour les jeunes, parce que c'est quand même assez bouleversant.
Oui, c'est ça, c'est
que, et ça c'est documenté.
so, you know, if somebody handed me this radio, as I just handed me this radio and said, hey, is this radio working well? And I did this test to it, I would turn and say, yes, this radio is working well. I don't think there's any doubt of it. How did I get such a wild chart? You know, I spent a long time yesterday trying to duplicate the whacked out chart, and I could not. It's very, very disturbing to me. So, on the other hand, the chart itself is very, very disturbing because of the horrendous alignment situation. Oh, I never showed the chart I produced. Let me do that. I'll show you the chart I produced for the Brown radio comparison chart. The original alignment assessment to the one I did yesterday. The one that made me think, oh boy. Something really went wrong in that first alignment thing, and it goes back to what my professor told me about voltmeters and equipment and stuff. I'm always going to give you a number, even if you do everything wrong. Okay, let's see. Straight out. Out it comes. Okay. I'm going to set this up exactly like the last one. I had it set up. Okay, first place to test this, 1400. Whoa, I can tune this one so nicely. Beautiful. 1400. Bingo. Just like that. So now we look at the SDR. You can see where the oscillator is. We want that at 1855. Look, right on the money. That's just amazing. I just whipped it there. So SDR is 1855. It's tuning 1400. Now, can we see the peak in the front of the radio? So this thing's putting out a signal at 1400. Let's move it. $1400. I'm going to turn up the sweep level. Oh, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of elevated the whole back part of the band here, but again, it could just be an SDR thing. Why would it behave differently than the last radio? It got me on that. Why? What I'm wondering is, why isn't the peak just sitting here? Why is it dragging way out to here? Why is it any different than the last radio? Could it be the position of my pickup coil here? Let's just move it down here. Can't imagine that would make a difference, but give it a little more. Okay, so we just run with that rather odd looking thing. Maybe this is where a mistake came. I would say the peak is right here on this radio at 1375, even though we are tuned to 1400. You see, at 1400 it's actually already coming down. It's actually low here, and I would say this radio missed it up at this end. I won't change it just now. We'll shoot down to the other end. See what that looks like. Okay, we'll pick put the local oscillator to 1 million. Okay, so it's on 1 million. So that's tuning 455 less. That's tuning 545. 545, right? Yes, 545. We look at the peak. The peak is a funny shape here again. I would say it's here. and that's right on 545. So it's right on here, a little off at the top. That's what it looks like. So now we're going to prove those peaks to be where they claim to be. I'm going to put the other signal generator down to 545. You can see it going through there. So 545 is where the red line is. I can set this on it. It's actually easier. I'll read it up here anyway. 545. So that would be 545. The peak appears to be right on it. So everything's lining up. This is saying I'm aligned. Let's go back up to the top end again. And we'll see what's going on up there. Once more. Around 1855. We'll shoot for 1400. Let's see, did I guess it again right on? Did I do 18? No, this would be 1875. So yeah, 1855 is there. This tiny change with a big broad peak like this doesn't make much difference. So we're going to move this. And we can use the hey, what happened here? Hold on a second. A lot of wire management goes on in this shop. Cables, you know, microphone wires, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we want to peak this at 1400 by moving the antenna adjustment. So we just moved it over a little too far. Go back. You know, can I get any better than that? Doubt it. So let's go in the middle of this radio band and try around 900. Around 900. Good. Okay, when I look at this, I'd say the peak it's a little hard to declare, right there. Just above 900, touch. Is that really? So we'll make this show up now. It's sitting right there. I'm looking at the ABC meter. So interestingly enough, I'm not reading the peak correctly. So it's not really true. This is up a little high. We'll go down on this a little bit. So I'm pretty sure the SDR is altering. The shapes shown on the SDR are created by the SDR. They aren't true representations of what's really going on. The thing you see on the scope is closer to the truth. What kind of truth is that? I don't know. Don't pay attention to the scope just now. Well, I would think, you know, no real improvement can be made here. Let's go down to 600. Maybe you're wrong about that. So we're in the range of 600. 600 would be 1055. Isn't it? 600, 1055. Up there. There we are. So 1055, I'd say the peak is right there, 600. I think there's no more improvement that can be made to the alignment of this radio. Unless we're really concerned about the front dial. Front dial is pointing right at 600. So there you have it. I did almost nothing to this radio now. Again, these have all been aligned in the proper method. All that's really happened here is my SDR experiment kind of went south. I think that's what this really means. So this guy is as tuned up as he's going to get. And we're going to listen to him again. I hardly made any change to it, but let's listen to him again. So dismount all the equipment. I didn't make any dramatic differences here.
Indigenous people, like Edward Downey, was trying to convey that message. I think
640,
aesthetic.
680. A lot of radios have trouble with 680 because there's noise right next to it. Doing pretty good. And we're still hearing my sweep generator there. It's really quite good. Really quite good. It's not going to find 820. French coming in. Very similar to the last radio. Normally we hear nothing above. We put on the antenna helper here. American religious broadcast.
Solid morning glory for me, commuting in.
1150, I think, from Hamilton.
It's been a very solid
1050 Toronto. That's enough. That's enough. Oh. What happened? What happened? The switch has bought it. I turned it on though. The switch bought it just now? No, I'm just not strong enough. A test of strength. Okay, now we're going to switch from 2 baby champs to 2 champs. My testing suggests that the baby champ is actually a better radio than the champ. My testing so far. Let's see what happens next. Okay, first step here is listen to me with no help. With no help. How about some power? Power would help. Yeah. We need that kind of help. No antenna help. Again, before the disastrous chart, I did what I thought was the correct thing to align these radios. Did it kind of click, knowing that I'd be doing something more like this. But nevertheless, it should be a properly aligned radio. Okay, no help, all by his lonesome here. That's a pretty poor showing, I'm telling you. Pretty poor. Now, it could just be antenna angle. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Check around a little more. Could just be antenna angle. French? Eight 680 with interference. As I mentioned, a lot of radios stumble on this one. This one's not as clear as the last.
First ballot liar who lies. Okay, here's the thing. He's either lying about one thing or about
This is
the training regiment.
This is 5/9, normally the strongest station here. Okay, now we're going to give it help. Oh, clip. Yeah, clip it. So couldn't get the station before. 590.
But then when you walk with 40 pounds on you, let's even say it was 40 pounds. You walk with 40 pounds on you. Well, that's been cleared up. Sides are hoping for a break.
I thought I heard something funny. Oh my gosh. Look, hey, where are you going? No, I'm not coming with you. No. Oh, now he's done it. He's closed the door. Cats aren't very smart about doors, at least my cats. It's out. Can't I go out? Go on. Go on out. I'll be out in a bit. Jim can't come out and play right now. Too busy doing this. This guy got a little more than the baby. I mean, you just have to imagine the champ is better than the baby champ. Wouldn't that be the case? So now we're going to verify the alignment. We've heard what it sounds like. Sounds great. Again, if I were to judge this radio just from what I heard now, I'd say there's nothing wrong with this radio at all. It's in good shape. Quite good shape, in fact. But we're going to find out. We are going to find out here. Poor cat is crying. So we got a huge amount of snow last night, and huger and some more is coming today. Lots and lots of snow. Now we need the pickup coil for the SDR. Okay, so on this radio, what I could do this. I could do that. Okay, let's just quickly check. Yeah, seems to be doing the trick. Oscillator and front end tuning are visible. So let's start right up at the top here again. Well, let's try 1400. So 1400, 1855 here. So I'm just moving the red line so I know where to put the radial oscillator. So this radio is tuned to 14. When I eyeball this wobbly peak, I think I would pick it about here, just below 14. But look at how broad it is. It's not really critical, I think. Now, is that peak really where I think it is? We'll now examine it using the other signal generator here, and yonder voltmeter. And get all, oh, yeah, voltmeters on camera, Jim. Hurry, lunch is coming. Okay, 14. So I'm going to turn this guy down. Ooh. Oh, okay, turn him down like that. It's got quite a strong residual output to it. If anything, the peak was a little lower than I picked. I'll try and find it with this now. Did I not hook it up? I did not hook it up. I'm never going to find it unless I hook it up. This radio has no, yeah, it does have a facility for an external antenna. Need to stick a capacitor of some sort on there. Capacitor helps to imitate the electrical characteristics of a regular antenna, even though you're hooking up a piece of test equipment. That's the idea behind that. Where would we go with this? And just do that. That'll be fine. Oh my gosh, look at all the junk that came in. Okay, I'm sure I can see the signal here. There it is. Okay, so now we can see the signal clearly. A little more challenges with this guy. Let's turn him up. Let's move this out of the way. Well, that's quite different looking now. What have I done here? So, the local oscillator is still at 1855. Yes. The radio is tuned to 1400, but now the peak is really very hard to distinguish. Be up in here. I feel like a doctor checking for a heartbeat. Curve seems pretty much the same no matter where I go with this. So I put that peak at 1500. What we're doing right now is we're experimenting with the SDR to see if it's a reliable tool here. Well, let's find it with this guy. So, oh, I never hooked up the I gotta stand the radio back up. Yeah, when I look at the SDR now, it looks like the front end is peaking out around 1700. Now, these radios actually range out to 1700. They actually range out to 1700. Right. Okay. Where is the peak according to my signal generator? Here we go. It should be somewhere up around way up here. There it is. So now this describes the peak as very, very sharp. The SDR makes it look like it's hardly there. Frequency is 1577. So the peak is at 1577. And the local oscillator is... I can't see it on here. Oh, it's off the screen. There we are. Huh? Oh yeah, well if you're going to get up to 1700, I guess you're going to go up into over 2000. So the current frequency is 207, well, call it 2080. Let's call it 2080. Come on, calculator. 2080, and we want to subtract 455. 1625 is where this radio is converting. The peak, though, $16.26. Try that again. Now the local oscillator, just double checking, is 2080. 2080 is 1625. 1625 is right in this range here. Why is there a red line happen to be there? Because that's my signal generator. So red line's marking it. So it looked to me like the peak is here on the SDR. Meanwhile, the signal generator puts it right here very, very sharply. So I think using the SDR is not working out. It's still great for identifying the local oscillator and controlling that. But as for this peak thing, I don't know. I think that's what's throwing me way off. So we want to correct this now and make this radio work properly. So again, so we're actually tuning 1620. We want this radio to produce the highest AVC voltage it can, ignoring the dial issues completely. That's really bad news, man. How are you supposed to do this radio? There's no access to the dial. You take the dial face off the radio and hold it on here. In fact, you know what? For crying out loud, there's no reason the dial face is off this radio. Son of a gun. Stop the presses. So the range on this radio is 530 to 1600. Not 1700. I was wrong about that. 1600. It'll go a little above 16 on its dial face. So let's put this dead on 16. Now, we'll run 16 into it and see if it really is there. 16 turns out to be 1625. So we're going to correct this. 16. Excuse me. More light, please. Not long enough. Okay, upper end oscillator adjustment. What am I trying to do exactly? I want to make 6. Let's turn this here. ABC meter still on screen, yep. We'll turn this towards. Turn this towards the target a little bit. Okay, try to get it back. Uh-oh. So that's me just pushing on it. You can see the challenge in doing these things. Okay, trying to tighten it. There we go. Pushing on it when I do that. Can't complain about that. That's 16. Right on 600. Just a wee bit off. Okay, there's a trimmer for this end here. Use that. Okay, so that's 600, tuning in 600. Let's check 14. 16 was a little high to do that on, you know. 14. It's 14, 14. Was that right on the money? 14. It's just a touch low. So we're gonna. I shouldn't have done it at 16. 16 is too close to the end. Okay. At this end, you pick up the antenna. You can do it right now. If I can get at it. I'm watching the meter as I do this. Too hard. Tightening up, tightening up. Can't get any tighter. Okay, 14. So we should do the checking of the SDR now. See what it's telling us about all this. So I'll bring on the sweep. So we're tuned at 14. Wow, yeah, try and pick a peak out of that. And we know the peak is sharp. When it's done with that signal generator, it's very sharp, very distinct. SDR is just, it's not pulling its weight here. Let's go down the other end. So you can see the, maybe see it on the lower end. Let me just move this over. Okay, we'll set the local oscillator rate on 1 million here. And that's 545. Okay, so the oscillator's at 1 million, the dial's at... Yeah, well, it should be a little further down. 549 or something. Peak not really visible here. Okay, so I'd pick it at around 600 based on that SDR, but boy, it's really not. It's really a lot of variation in how I'm getting the SDR to picture these signals coming out of the radio, except for the local oscillators. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, so let's check and see where this radio is actually peaking. It's exactly where it should be. So it's exactly right. So we'll go to the middle of the band now. 900. Okay, it's 900. On the dial at 895 is the actual frequency. Let's put this to 900. It's hard to hear the difference. And we'll find out where 900 shows up here. Right on the money. Your little parallax in the camera there. dead on. Now I check the peaking coil or antenna coil. Just tuned exactly right. I can turn this guy off here. Yeah, that's what I used last time. Okay, I'm watching the ABC meter now. Down. Oh, it's right at the end of it. You know, I can't really tighten it much more. So, what does that mean? We could forsake the dial, put the antenna tuning a little towards the middle of its thing, range. And then force the oscillator to match up with that. I'm in the middle of the band here. That's my signal generator. Put this to 900. Oh my god. There's nothing there to adjust. Okay, so 900 is 900. 600 is 600. $1,400. There we are. That's it. Chord management, you know. That would be chord mismanagement, that part. Okay, what are we hooked up here? Can we just play this radio now? We gotta get this off here. Get this off. Get this off. Okay. No help from anybody. You know what? I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to lay it down too. Put more screws in. One of the things I never really checked, well, I probably did in the first time through, is the pointer on the shaft in the right place. I don't think I adjusted any of the pointers. There we go. Okay. Are we ready? We already know the antenna should be oriented more like this with most of the stations. Thought I heard something there. $28.20? Nope. $7.40? $6.80 next. $6.80 with the noise. So I think the noise is sort of, if you tune in 680 and you hear a fair bit of noise, then I think you know the tuning is broad. That's what I think.
Wash your hands. So I'm of the mind that it's probably a good idea to follow
640. 610's another tough one. 590. Buffalo. Nope. Now, with help, ooh, that's a lot of help. Hello, Buffalo. I think that's a Buffalo station.
If the sound of a freshly cracked egg and sizzling bacon gets your mouth watering, then what does a McDonald's McMuffin for just $3 do for you? McMuffin sandwich for only $3.
$5.90?
Plus tax, all offers valid till March 8th. See participating
Gotta
restaurants
be.
for details.
Get more with online grocery delivery from Real Canadian Superstore. Shop your favorite groceries online, at home, or from your phone, and get them delivered straight to your door in as little as 1 hour. That's right, 1 hour. But that's not all. For a limited time, you can get $25 off your first order when you try
$5.90.
online grocery delivery. So you'll save on your grocery bill and save yourself a trip to the store. Get started at superstore.ca/delivery, because who doesn't love getting a little more?
It's good. 610.
With 10 different models to choose from, and now's the
Hmm.
time to
640. I got the helper antenna on too.
visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Ontario.
680, 640 here. 610. Good. 740. Great Canadian. Great Canadian musician there. 820. Just the sound quality of this. It's fantastic. That guy's done. Well, there's a look at the snow. Let me just swing that camera around a little bit and get a better view of what's happened in my backyard here. Okay, ready to give the opening check for this radio. We'll tune it with no help, then tune it with help, then double check all the alignment. Get that off there for now. Okay, power on. Wow, that light really goes. The flash of the light. Just so you don't think this is coming from Quebec, it's an Ontario transmitter in French. Quebec is 500 miles away from here. 400 miles. 740. .680 having trouble with the noise. Depends how you tune it though.
Except for Donald Trump says,
640.
that's not true. They are trying to build us up, and they are doing things and saying things that are absolutely crazy. And they are really hurting our country. The fake news media. The fake news media. Okay, so are we supposed to be getting our COVID-19 information from POTUS, from his Twitter feed? That's what we're supposed to do? That's the thing? That seems unwise. Hey, Donald, you're looking a little yellow, a little orange, maybe. Can I feel your forehead?
That's Canadian radio you're listening to. Maybe Israel. 590. Signal generator. Yeah. So there we are. That's not bad at all. Again, I followed the standard procedure for doing the alignment on these. I don't think I did a bad job of it. It's just that crazy SDR experiment just unnerved me so much. Okay. Now, oh, I gotta stop and put a few things on the screen here. Okay, I think we're ready to start here. Well, go to 14. 14 quite accurately. I will find out if it's really 14 on the signal generator here. I don't have it connected yet. There's no external antenna for this radio. No external antenna. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I just know where to hook this. Oh, forgot this. Okay, and then let's see where. Okay, this guy's got to go. Ooh, maybe not, maybe not. Let's go same point as here. Oh, this radio doesn't have a separate negative bus. If I remember right? Who knows? Am I remembering right? Who knows? Ooh. Wow. Lucky. Really very lucky. Okay, up here. There we go. It's my lucky day. Okay, radio is tuned to 1400. Okay, let me just double check now because maybe it's not a big deal. Where does 1400 actually show up on this dial? Hard to see it. Hard to see dial. It's fine. It's just fine. I think one of the tricks of these radios, the cheaper, simpler radios, is they make the dial so you really can't get involved too much with it. To save you the anguish of, I mean, they don't really want to make it clear to you that this is not absolutely precise. Not on this kind of radio. So that's good though. 14, that's good. Okay, going down, trying the same thing at 600. Okay, we're on 600. Is it really 600? Yes, it's really 600. So the dial's matching the radio beautifully. Now we're going to check the front end. We'll do that back up at 1400. That was probably the image signal coming through there. It's another thing these radios are probably really poor at. Okay, now we tune this in to get maximum signal here. Maximum on the ABC. Now we try to see if we can get a little more out of that. Okay, I'm in the screw. Where are you? Here we are. Not that way. Lots more. Screw is quite loose. I think we just went past the peak. Hold on, screwdriver came out. Here we go. Going down, up, down, there's a peak right there. The screw fairly snug. Okay, now we're going to do the SDR examination of this situation and see what it tells us. So we'll stay at 1400. Turn this down a little bit. We'll get our sweep going here. Yeah. What is it, my buddy? You know what I'm doing different here? I just realized this clip lead thing here. I was doing this differently before. Instead of using this high-tech clip lead, carefully wound coil, I use an even simpler one. Looks like this. That's it. Let me put that back up here. Does that help at all? Oh, what is it, man? Okay, I'm gonna have to go and play with my cat because he's upset at me now. Well, let's finish this. So the radio is tuned to 1400. If I had to pick the peak from this wobbly, shaky thing here, I think I would pick about here. Yet we know there's a sharp peak in this thing. You can prove it by just wiggling this. Yeah, I think what I'm learning here is the SDR is kind of useless for really giving you... Oh, do you want me to pick you up? Come here. Oh, now he wants me to go in. Just hang on, kid. Just hang on for just a moment longer. So what's that mean? That means this radio is aligned. Because the frequencies are showing up where they should at either end, and I've got the RF peaked properly using effective instruments. Great. You know what? There's only one more radio to check. It's barely worth checking even, but let's do it. Okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, last radio to do here, the Stewart Warner R515. So, now this one is different from the others in that it does not have its own loop antenna. Instead it has an antenna transformer, and it's looking for a ground and an antenna. Well, I sure do have an antenna. I can hook up to it. It's going to give wonderful performance because it's such a strong antenna, relatively speaking. So how to make this comparison fair with the other radios? I'm not so sure that's even really a possibility, really. So we're going to let it do what it's built to do. Maybe that's the smart thing to do here. Okay, so we'll power it up. Switch on. And here we go, radio number 5, the last one. Now this radio has all of its original parts, original filter capacitor, everything's original in it. All I've really done here is put a string on it and put a pointer on it. And every time I start this radio, this is the first time this has happened on video, I think every time I start this radio it pops into life like that. I don't know what it means, if it means anything. So it's sitting here with no antenna, so I will do it a favor and give it a good antenna here. Making sure it's the antenna I've hooked it up to, yep. So this is picking up stations where other radios just don't. They just don't during the day pick up a station up here. That's the end of the road, is it? Doesn't seem quite right. Oh, twist control here. Oh, no, it's going further. Here we are. That's definitely the end of the road. Slipping string again. Another station. So this is an exceptionally performing radio. Mind you, it is hooked up to a really good antenna, but directly. Another station. Wow. Loves the noise. Another station. Just for interest's sake, let's just go back there. Sports station. I'm going to switch to just a stupid antenna and see how this works. Not too good like that. Here's a stupid antenna right here. Short piece of wire, not doing anything. Okay, I'm just going to add another couple of feet, 3 feet here. Okay, so that was just a reality check on see how important it is to hook up the ground on a radio like that? Hook up the ground. I'm hooking up the shield of the coax that goes out to the antenna. There's no earth connection to it. But I literally think it's the difference from the radio's point of view of this happening versus this happening. It likes this a lot better, I think. Well, this radio remains one of the best performing radios I've had in my shop. Hear the signal to noise on this? It's great. We have a really good performing antenna. Maybe that's really... Okay, so this guy's working great. It's the ugliest radio too. The cabinet's ugly. So there's another factor I had not taken into account through all these radios, and that's the condition of the vacuum tubes. I don't think I haven't even tested them in half the radios. So, you know, a variation between radios could be the IF tube's a little stronger in one of them, or the maybe the mixer tube, or I mean, there'd be an awful lot of stuff you'd have to check to kind of really come down on what exactly is different about these radios, I think. Okay, well, let's check the alignment on this guy, because wow, the performance is great, certainly compared to other radios. And I wonder, because it doesn't have its own loop antenna and it's demanding a wire antenna to be hooked up to it, if in fact this radio is intended to be a better performer, if this is a better radio, if they come with their own loop antenna on the back, that's actually a step down from a nice wire antenna in your backyard. Now in the year 2020, nobody has wires in their backyard, but I'll bet you in 1947, 1950, lots of people had antennas hanging in there out of their windows and that. That's a bet I can't lose, because you know, who knows. Love those bets. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is verify the alignment on this. Okay, let's check out this radio. It's tuned somewhere at the low end. Where's the local oscillator? Oh, it's right on 1,000,000. Oh, a lucky break. So what we'll do now is we'll use the signal generator and find out what this radio is really interested in receiving. 548. It should be receiving 545. Now, it's quite possible I don't quite have this right on a million. Let's just, what if I just move it this tiny amount? Now 546, very close to 545. And that's the first thing we want to check is now think about this now. I think we're going to want to go up to the high end. Oh, yeah, that's right, this radio has no ability to trim the RF except to bend the capacitor plates, and I can't tell where the pointer's pointing with this radio either. The dial is in the cabinet. Well, it's receiving really well. I think we can say that. I mean, we know that already. So it's really just a question of what is it a question of, Jim? We put the local oscillator. So this is the radio that goes up into 1700. You can see the tuning peak on the SDR. So we're going to set this to 1955. 1955. Oops. $19.55. That's going to be 1500. Just going to double check here. I mean, it's hard for it not to be 1500. Okay. Now, what I don't know is I don't know where 1500 is on the dial in this radio. I have that paper tape I made for it. Guess I can stick this back on. I'm gonna have to do something like that. Okay, a little awkward now. Swing this around. Oh, this radio looks like it's ready to fall over. This is going to stick worth a hoot anymore either. And it's all curled up. I'm matching it up with the markings. Just outside. Like that. Stick on there, please. We think we have the radio tuned to 1500. The pointer is at a random location. Well, no, you know, I said it last time. Yeah, it's pointing at 1500. 17, 16, 15. It's really inaccurate doing this. Yeah, goodbye to that. Okay. There's not a lot we can do here. I think it's working great. So we look at the, let's do this. Look at the SDR. The peak, I'm going to whip this around a bit. So I'm going to put the peak on 15 here if I can do it. So I would say the peak is on 15 right now. And the radio's at 19, looks like 1955. It's not 1955. 1955 is a red line, so it's a little off. This is suggesting this is really terrible. Peak is a little low. Peak is a little low. So let's put another 50 in here. I'm thinking all kinds of thoughts in my head. That's why my speech is breaking up. I'm thinking about other things. I've got 2 or 3 thoughts going at the same time. It's not good. So you can't read the numbers there, but 1480. 1480 is where this has ended up. You can see on the SDR where the 1480 is showing. Up on the this way down. Right on 15. Okay, I think I've hit the end of the road here. I'm not going to ring any more receptivity or sensitivity or anything out of these radios. All 5 of them are really as far as they're going to go. Certainly with me, or including this guy and all his old capacitors. I'm leaving them just like that. It would be a shame, in my view, to take this radio in its original state, functioning as well as it is, and get in there and monkey around with it for what? For what reason? For all we know, these guys have made it all the way to here. They're going to make it another 30 years. Good. That's it. I've seen enough of these 5 radios, that's for sure. I'm going to whip them all back in their cabinets. And that's it. I can't believe I've hit the end of the road here. So what's the big lesson? So the big lesson here is watch out for using the SDR in certain applications. It doesn't seem to line up. I don't know why yet. I don't understand what's going on with it. I just showed you in this last radio, it seemed to indicate where the peak was perfectly. Why that graph I made was so far out, I just don't know. I made some consistent error with every radio and I didn't recognize it, the error I was making. Don't know what that might be. Good grief. But boy, I've really gone into depth here on alignment, and notice, never bent any of the plates on the capacitors. Never got there. The Stewart Warner R515. The Champ 5200. The Champ 5300. The Baby Champ 5000. The Baby Champ 5000 Bakelite. I had one of these exact radios in my home when I was growing up. There they are, the team of radios that's been helping me get a little better at some of the work I'm doing here in my shop. So, and what's next in my shop now? I've seen enough of the little 5-tube radios. It's time for something a little bigger. So I have this wonderful looking Stromberg Carlson shortwave radio. I don't know anything about it, about its condition, operating condition, or anything. But that's what's next. I'm going to spend a week or so with this guy. We'll see. Thanks a lot for watching the whole series, especially with all these radios and some of the crazy stuff I did. terms of aligning them and the like. So thanks again, and keep watching.